Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges, live from Warhammer Fest. Well, my hotel room actually, but I've just come from the Q&A session for Warhammer the Old World, and there's a bunch of information that you guys didn't get to see because the Q&A was not live for some reason. Kind of weird. But yeah, we're going to talk about it really quickly because, as you can imagine, I'm still here. So, there is no set release date right now. Index rules will be free online, but eventually army books will come. They did confirm that army books will be a thing because it does feel like Warhammer Fantasy. Focus is on the Old World location, and that means that eventually, as time progresses, they'll look to doing the other places. But right now, Empire, Bretonnia, Athaloran, all that type of areas is the main focus for Old World. All units that were in an army book will have rules. This means that every army from 8th edition, this was also confirmed in the live stream, will have your rules. This also means that legacy models will be a thing. So if you have characters such as Karl Franz on Deathclaw, yes, you can use him. He won't be Karl Franz, obviously, but yeah, legacy things are joining the Old World roster. This is all going to be rapid fire. I do apologize, but as you can imagine, I am absolutely shattered. And yeah, let's continue. Unlikely to say that there's going to be backward compatible stuff from Age of Sigmar, but there is, you never know, situation there. I guess it depends on fan outcry and if, you know, GW sees it as a very lucrative thing. I imagine that they wouldn't want to do that because they'll want to try and sell you more models, so making something that very much looks the same, but yeah. And Old World will not have stuff going forward. You can still use the stuff, like if you want to use a Bretonnian Knight, then you really cool ones, you can use it. It's just you'll have to use it like a Stormcast or something, depending on the size of the model and the base that you decide to use. There is no plans for a Monstrous Arcanium book just yet, but they did say that it depends on how things go with sales. If there is demand, they'll look towards it. No focus on Mordheim. A lot of people actually asked for Mordheim. I was actually quite surprised, but you never know. They actually said that themselves. Bases. Base sizes will be released to all of us before the actual release of Warhammer the Old World, which means that it's very likely they'll start selling some, you know, base kits and so on, which would be kind of useful. But yeah, it's going to have to be a while. At the end of the day, at least, yeah, we know that we're going to be able to be ready prior to that. Where do we have here? Oh yeah, so rules will focus again from older editions but feel very familiar. Even the new stuff will feel like Warhammer Fantasy. A very big important thing to note is that the Chaos Dwarfs, yes, the Tamukon series, will have rules, so you can play them in Old World. However, they will not, and they stress that out, not get new minis and story for a while. I also imagine that since, yeah, the Darklands isn't really centralized to the Old World, despite being very close, you know, the whole World's Edge Mountain situation, but at least you can still use your Dreadquake, you can use all the really cool stuff from there. Old World will not be new player friendly. Yeah, something that kind of took me aback, but they did double back and say there will be tools for new players. So that's a very good thing. So this is a really important thing. They specifically said no starter sets. However, when pressed by multiple people, they did say that there's going to be ways for people to come in. This likely means that yes, they won't be marketed as starter sets, but they will be the return of the old school battalion boxes, which, yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. It's something that's going to be quite good. The next thing, 500 years ago is a long time. I don't know why they said 500 years. It feels like a different post to 250 prior. But yeah, the colleges of magic are gone. This means no light wizards, no blazing wizards, no death wizards for the Empire. I mean, you're fine because you're still going to have hedge magic and warrior priests are more active. They specifically mentioned that warrior priests are going to be very active. They mentioned that the focus again is the Old World. This is something they repeated a few times, and Kislev will be later on. Dogs of War will not have an official book initially. They did kind of leave it in the open air. It's very unclear what's happening with Lizardmen because they do say that, you know, the Seraphon stuff is likely going to get used, but like not really. They basically said anything that was alive in the Warhammer Fantasy setting will have a model. So I'm assuming, yeah, we'll get the new Seraphon because it kind of makes sense. We won't get the Battle Chickens, which is a bit of a shame. Though it could kind of get reused, you know, if they bring back Tinsy Wincy and just replace the cold ones with, you know, the Battle Chickens, because those were really cool looking. And yeah, Cafe is going to be a while. High Elves were properly confirmed because someone asked, what's going to happen with the High Elves? They're not in the Old World. And I believe it was Eddie Eccles who responded that, well, their logo is in the map. He just said it that simply, which I think is pretty cool. This is something very, very important. So we know for the kits, plastic, forge walled resin, and metal. They decided like metal models, so I guess it means that old metal stuff is coming back, but they specifically mentioned no fine cast. So yeah, that's going to be very, very, very good for us if you don't like that. There's going to be loads of new lore. They've mentioned it, that there's so much that's happening around that period. And finally, Cafe is kind of far future. Yeah, I mean, all this is pretty good. All this is information that we all wanted to know. Yeah, I'm happy that they've done this. I'm happy the Q&A session was about 30 minutes. It was shared with the Horus Heresy thing. I must admit, like 90% of the people there asking were Warhammer Fantasy fans. So there was not a lot of Horus Heresy information. It's not something that you would expect from me anyway. I'm really happy. I think this is about time that they're starting to drop information. A lot of my previous details, like previous rumors and so on, seem to be proving right. As you might know from the announcement that you'll hear me talk about a little bit later, you know, Bretonnians versus Tomb Kings. That was confirmed. So I'm telling you, the last rumor I heard is it's this year, and I really think it's going to be this year. But yeah, this is going to be a short video because, as you can imagine, I'm running around like a headless chicken. You don't even have the intro screen today, which is kind of fun. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I know you guys have been waiting for this. I'm sorry that it's taken a bit of a while, but it's been a lot of tape sorting everything out. But yeah, have a lovely day, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.